Hello my dear children, once again welcome to our physics class. Hope you all are fine over there. Children, in the previous sessions we had completed our magnetism chapter, that is moving charges and magnetism. One more chapter is there related to magnetism that we will complete after finishing the first two chapters, because as per the year plan the first two chapters are supposed to be taken in the beginning of the session, but we had started with current electricity. So next we will complete the first two chapters and then we will move on to the magnetism part. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the first chapter of your NCERT textbook, that is electric charges and fields. So before moving to the topic, let's discuss some of the introductory concepts that you had already studied in your lower classes related to electricity, especially the static electricity. Are you familiar with the term static electricity? See children, you might have experienced a spark, or you might have heard a crackle when we take off our synthetic clothes or sweater, especially during the dry weather. Okay, you can also experience the same with the ladies' garments like polyester sari. So have you ever tried to find any explanation for this phenomenon? And another common example is lightning that we see in the sky during the thunderstorms. We had also experienced a sensation of an electric shock either while opening the door of a car or holding the iron bar of a bus after sliding from our seat. So the reason for all these experiences is electric discharge through our body, which were accumulated due to rubbing of insulating surfaces. You might have also heard that this is due to the generation of static electricity. And you had already studied about the frictional electrification and all those concepts in your 8th standard physics. So we are going to discuss all those concepts in detail in this chapter. Okay, so all these concepts we are going to discuss in this and also in the next chapter. So static means anything that does not move or change with time. And electrostatics means it is the study of forces, fields and potentials arising from the static charges. And we will discuss about the potential, force, field, all those concepts in detail in this chapter. Okay, so that's all about the introductory part. So next we can discuss about electric charge, because electric charge is the main character of this chapter, as you know. So let's discuss about electric charge first. And you're familiar with this term electric charge. What do you mean by electric charge? See, electric charge is the property of a matter that causes it to experience a force when near or other electrically charged particles. So what is electric charge? It is a property of the matter which causes it to experience a force when near or other electrically charged particles. Okay, so when any particle is around a charged particle, that neutral particle will experience some force. It may be an attractive force or it may be a repulsive force. Okay, so that is what is called electric charge. And do you know who discovered this electric charge? Actually, historically we can say the credit of discovery that the amber, it's a material, amber, when it is rubbed with wool or silk cloth, attract light objects, goes to the tale of Miletus, that is Greece, around 600 BC. So the credit of discovering the electric charge goes to Greece. And the name electricity is coined from the Greek word electron, which means amber. So many such pairs of materials were known when any two materials were rubbed, and those materials will get electrified. Okay, so what is electric charge? It is the property of a matter which causes it to experience a force when near or other electrically charged particles. You might have experienced one thing, that is whenever you take a balloon and whenever you try it to stick to the wall, does it stick to a wall? Never. But at the same time, rub that balloon with a woolen cloth. or rub the same balloon with your hair, which is a dry hair. It must be a dry hair. Then when you try to stick the balloon on the wall, what will happen? Yeah, the balloon get easily stuck to the wall, isn't it? What happens when the balloon is rubbed with the wool, or when it is rubbed with our hair, with the dry hair? What happens? What was the new thing that was introduced in that balloon that causes it to stick to the wall? Yes, you are right. It is electric charge. Whenever the balloon is rubbed with the wool, or whenever the balloon is rubbed with the dry hair, the balloon got electrified, or the balloon gains some sort of electric charge. It may be a positive or negative charge. It doesn't matter. We will come to that matter. Okay. So let it be any charge. It got some charge. It has got some charge. Otherwise, it is a neutral object. When it was rubbed with a wool or dry hair, it got some electric charge, and due to that electric charge, we can easily stick that balloon to the wall. Okay, same thing happens when the comb is rubbed with our hair. Okay, so when you take a plastic comb and when you rub it with the dry hair, and when you show that comb near some tiny bits of paper, you can see the pieces of paper are getting attracted towards the comb. In the absence of rubbing, the pieces of paper were not attracted towards the comb. Only after rubbing, when the comb was introduced, or when the comb was brought near some tiny bits of paper, the paper pieces was attracted towards the comb. So what was the reason for this? What happened when rubbing was done between the comb and the dry hair? Yeah, the rubbing introduced some sort of electric charge into the comb, and due to that electric charge, the paper pieces got attracted towards the comb. So this sort of gaining electric charge, or this form of gaining electric charge due to rubbing, is known as frictional electrification. Okay, and there are two types of charges, positive charge and negative charge. And when do we say that an object is a positively charged one? When it has excess number of positive charges, that means when it loses electrons. So an object is positively charged when it loses electrons. And when do we say that an object is negatively charged? An object is negatively charged when it has excess of negative charges. So which has negative charges? Electrons. So when the object gains electrons, it acquires a negative charge. So these are two types of charges. Now you also know that like charges repel and unlike charges attract. You had already studied the property of this charge in your lower classes. Then what do you think? Is it possible to charge an object? Is it possible to charge an object? Yes, it is possible to charge an object, and there are three ways to charge an object. Which are the three ways? First way is rubbing. Okay, rubbing. Rubbing is a sort of charging an object. Second is conduction. Conduction is also a form of charging the object. And the third method to charge an object is induction. So what are the three methods of charging? Rubbing, conduction and induction. So what do you mean by rubbing? We had already discussed about the charging of an object by rubbing. What do you mean by rubbing? Yeah, consider the previous example. When the balloon was rubbed with wool or dry hair, it acquires some sort of charge due to which it gets stuck to the balloon. Okay, and when the comb is rubbed with dry hair, what happened? It could attract some tiny bits of paper. So due to rubbing, some sort of charges are acquired by the object. Let it be positive or negative charge. So rubbing of insulators. You must note the point, rubbing of insulators, because by the method of rubbing, we can only charge an insulator. it is not possible to charge a conductor by the method of rubbing. Okay, so you must always consider this point. By rubbing, we can charge only an inductor. Okay, rubbing is not applicable to conductor. Rubbing not applicable to conductor. Rubbing is applicable only to insulator. Okay, so what do you mean by rubbing? Rubbing of insulators causes transfer of charge. Okay, when one object is rubbed with another object, some amount of charges are transferred from one object to another object. Okay, so when the balloon is rubbed with a woolen towel, the balloon gains negative charge and gets attracted to the wall. Okay, so when the balloon is rubbed with the wool, or when the balloon is rubbed with woolen clothes, what will happen? Balloon gains a negative charge. Similarly, when the comb is rubbed with dry hair, comb gains a negative charge. Okay, and it could attract the paper pieces. So you may think, why always these objects are getting negatively charged? Is it not possible to acquire positive charge by rubbing? Definitely it is possible. So for that we need to consider one series, that is electrostatic series. See, this is the electrostatic series. This is the order. As per the series, those objects which are on the top of the series, those objects which occupy the topmost position in the series, they have the tendency to gain positive charge. That means they have the tendency to lose their electrons. And those who are lying on the bottom side of the series, they have a tendency to gain negative charge. That means they have a tendency to gain electrons. So on the top portion of the series, we can see asbestos, rabbit fur, glass or mica, human hair, nylon, wool, lead, silk, aluminium, paper, cotton, etc. And towards the end of the series, you can see silver, brass, nickel, then polyethylene, polypropylene, Teflon, silicon, rubber, etc. And all these are, this polyethylene and polypropylene all are some sort of plastic material, as in different forms of plastic. So here, just consider, just go back to our experiment. When the balloon is rubbed with human hair, what will happen? See, balloon is made up of a plastic like substance, and when the balloon is rubbed with human hair has a tendency to gain positive charge because it occupies the topmost portion of the series. So it will lose electrons, and plastic lies towards the end of the series, which has a tendency to gain the negative charge or electrons. So the plastic balloon will gain the electrons, and any object that gains the electrons will be negatively charged, and any object which loses the electrons will acquire a positive charge, isn't it? So here the human hair, which has the tendency to gain positive charge, will be positively charged because it loses its electrons, and the plastic balloon will acquire a negative charge because it has acquired, or it has gained the electrons. Similarly, when the plastic comb is rubbed with hair, same thing happens, isn't it? Human hair will lose the electrons, so it will be positively charged, and the plastic comb will has a tendency to gain the electrons, and it will be negatively charged. So that's why plastic comb and balloon acquires negative charge in that experiment. Okay, so what is rubbing? Rubbing is a method of charging an object, and by the process of rubbing we can charge only an insulator, because whenever charges are transferred from one object to another object, those charges are discharged in the case of conductor, but insulator will hold those charges, and it will gain the respective charge. Okay, so rubbing is the method of transfer of charges from one object to another object, and rubbing is applicable only for insulators, not for conductors. So for conductors we need to consider another method of charging, and that method is known as conduction. Conduction is a method of charging an object by the process of contact. Okay, when one object it may be a neutral object. When that object is kept in contact with a charged body, the neutral object will gain some charge of the same kind. For example, here consider a positively charged plate. This is a charged body. It has got a positive charge. Now, a neutral sphere, it is brought in contact with this positively charged body. So what will happen? These charges are transferred, positive charges are transferred from the positively charged body to the neutral body. So as a result, this body has excess of positive charges and it will become a positively charged body. Similarly, suppose we have a negatively charged body here and a neutral sphere is kept in contact with this negatively charged plate. What happens? Negative charges are transferred to this neutral sphere and this sphere will gain excess of negative charge and it will become a negatively charged sphere. Okay, so neutral sphere acquired a positive or negative charge depends on the body, charged body that we have selected. If we are selecting a charged body for charging, if we are selecting a positively charged body for charging, the sphere has got a positive charge, and if we select a negatively charged object for charging, the sphere will acquire a negative charge. So, through the method of conduction, same kind of charge is acquired. Okay, so what is conduction? Conduction is the process in which an uncharged body are charged with same kind of charges. Uncharged body is charged with same kind of charges. So that is known as charging by conduction. Now, we can also say this charging by conduction as charging by contact, because here uncharged body is kept in contact with a charged body. Okay. Next we can discuss the third method of charging, that is charging by induction. So what do you mean by charging by induction? It is a method of charging in which the uncharged body is charged without any contact. So in the method of conduction, the uncharged body was kept in close contact with the charged one. But in the case of induction, the uncharged body is kept close to the charged body but not in contact. So consider this case. Again we are considering the same positively charged plate. Okay, then a neutral object or a neutral sphere. It's an uncharged sphere. It is kept in close contact, or it is kept near the, not contact, sorry. It is kept very near, very close to the charged body but not in contact. So what happens? A uncharged body, this is an uncharged body, right? An uncharged body means it has got equal number of positive and negative charges. Uncharged body doesn't mean that it doesn't possess any charges. Uncharged body means it has equal number of positive and negative charges. Charges are there, but both the positive and negative charges are balanced. So, when this uncharged body or sphere is kept close to the charged or positively charged body, all the negative charges, that is opposite charges, will be oriented at the nearer end of the plate, and all the positive charges, that means like charges, are oriented at the farther end of that plate. And when we connect or when we earth the sphere at this end using an earth wire, what will happen? All the positive charges will be balanced by the flow of electrons from the ground, because from the ground the electrons will be attracted towards this positive charges, and these positive charges and the electrons will recombine and will be cancelled. Okay, then what is left with this sphere? Only negative charges are left with the sphere. So the sphere will acquire only which charge? Negative charge. Thus, a neutral object has acquired a negative charge. And in this method, opposite charges are acquired by the object, because we have kept a positively charged plate here, but the body has acquired a negative charge. Now, same thing happens with a negatively charged body. See, a negatively charged plate is kept here. Again, a neutral sphere is kept here. So, now the opposite charges, that is positive charges, will be oriented at the closer end, and negative charges will be oriented at the farther end. And when you earth here all the negative charges will be leaked to the ground through this earth wire, and the sphere is left with only the positive charges. So we will get a positively charged sphere. Okay, so we have kept a negatively charged object, but we have gained a positively charged sphere. So this is also a method of charging, but in this method of charging, the body is not in close contact with the charged body. We are keeping that objects only very close to that object, charged body. Okay, so these are the three methods of charging: rubbing, conduction, and induction. Just look at this figure. You can see this figure in your NCERT textbook. Here you can see two glass rods, and both the glass rods has acquired a positive charge. That means this glass rod has undergone some method of charging. So these two glass rods are rubbed with silk or wool. So just look at the series. In the series, glass is lying in this position, and a silk or wool are lying just below the glass. So glass will have a tendency to gain positive charge, because those who gains positive charge lie on the topmost series. So glass will have a tendency to gain the positive charge, and wool or silk will gain a negative charge. Okay, so we have two glass rods here, and these two glass rods are rubbed with silk or wool. That's why they have gained a positive charges, and since these two glass rods are like charges, they will repel each other. Okay, now here you can see a plastic rod. Again you can see another plastic rod. So again these two plastic rod are rubbed with wool or silk. So you can see here plastic lies towards the bottom of the series, wool or silk lies in the topmost position of the series. So wool or silk will gain a positive charge, and plastic will gain a negative charge. So that's why when the same plastic rod is rubbed with the same wool or silk, they gained a negative charge and they will repel. And here you can see the glass rod and a plastic rod, because glass rod has acquired a positive charge, plastic rod has acquired a negative charge. And when these two glass and plastic rods are kept together, they will attract, because unlike charges will attract. Okay, next this is the common notation, that is two like charges will repel. Here negative and negative charges will repel, positive and positive will repel, but negative and positive will come together. That means they will attract. Okay, next we can discuss some properties of charges. First property is called additive property. So what do you mean by additive property? Additive property means total charge on the body is the algebraic sum of all charges located anywhere on the body. Okay, so what is the total charge on any body? Total charge on any body is the result of algebraic, or is the sum of algebraic sum of all charges located anywhere in the body. So consider a sphere. Suppose we have plus 1 coulomb charge here, plus 3 coulomb charge here, and minus 8 coulomb charge here. The sphere consists of plus 1 coulomb, minus 8 coulomb, and plus 3 coulomb charge on different positions. So what will be the total charge inside the sphere? Total charge inside the sphere is the algebraic sum of all the charges present inside it. That is 1 plus 3 minus 8. We should consider the sign also. That's the meaning of the word algebraic sum. It will become 1 plus 3, 4, 4 minus 8, minus 4. So what will be the total charge inside of the sphere? It will be minus 4 coulomb. So this is the additive property. And next is conservation of charge. So what do you mean by conservation of charge? In the isolated system, the total charge remains constant. Okay, even if the charges are transferred from one object to another object, the total charge of that system will be constant. Okay, so suppose an object or 5 coulomb charge is transferred from one object to another object, or 5 electrons are transferred from one object to another object. What happens? The first object will lose 5 electrons, but at the same time the second object will gain same number of electrons, 5 electrons. So charges are not lost. They are just transferred from one object to another object. Now, third property is quantization of charge. That is the third property. So what do you mean by quantization of charge? Children, I am going to write one expression, that is Q equal to NE. You are familiar with this expression. You had already studied this expression in your 10th standard physics in the electricity chapter. And using this equation, you have found out the n, that is number of electrons. And what is Q? Q is charge here. N is number of electrons. E is electronic charge. And what is the unit of this electronic charge? It is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. That is the value of this E. And this equation itself is known as the quantization of electric charge. Here you can see any electric charge in this universe can be written as integral multiple of this fundamental unit of charge, that is E. Okay, any electric charge in this universe or all the charges in this universe are integral multiples of a fundamental unit of charge, and that fundamental unit of charge is E. Okay, we can write an electric charge Q is 1 electron, 2 electron, 3 electron, like that, or minus 3 electron or minus 4e, like that. So always this E will be there. It is the fundamental unit of charge. In terms of this E, we can write the total electric charge. Okay, and this property is called the quantization of charge. N is an integer. It can be positive or negative. Okay, and suppose to understand this concept, I will just give an example. Suppose you have only 10 rupees at your home. Okay, only 10 rupees. 10 rupees, you don't have any 100 rupees or 1000 rupees, sorry, not 1000, 2000 rupees or 500 rupees, 20 rupees, nothing. You have large number of 10 rupees. You have a bundle of 10 rupees with you. Okay, so if you want to give 100 rupees to the shop, what will you give? You will give 10 notes of 10 rupees. That will form the 100. If you want to give a 500 rupees, what you will give? You will give 50 notes of that 10 rupees. And if you want to give 200 rupees, what you will do? You will give 20 notes of that bundle of 10 rupees, isn't it? So here this 10 rupee is a fundamental unit and this is the integer. So this is quantization. And this quantization can be ignored from the macroscopic level. Macroscopic level means it can be ignored, and it is more significant in the microscopic level. Microscopic level means if you observe a system very closely, you can count the number of charges. You can distinguish between different types of charges. You can count it. That is 1 electron, 2 electron, 3 electron, like this. But at the same time, if you view the same system from a higher level, from a macroscopic level, you won't be able to distinguish between different types of charges. You will you will find it as a continuous system. So quantization cannot be or quantization is not significant from such a macroscopic level. So for that, consider this example. See, suppose I have some blocks here. Okay, now how many blocks are there? If you observe the system closely, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 blocks are kept here. But at the same time, if you view the same system from a very high level, suppose you are in a helicopter or somewhere in such a high position, and if you try to view the system, you won't be able to count, or you won't be able to distinguish between different boxes. You will just find it as a continuous line like this. Okay, you can't be able to distinguish the space between, or differentiate the space between them. Okay, so this is the macroscopic level. In the macroscopic level, quantization is not significant. Quantization means you are able to distinguish between different amount. That is quantization. So it is not significant in the macroscopic level, at a higher level, but within the microscopic level it is more significant. Okay, so these are some of the important properties of charges: additive property, conservation of charge, and quantization. Okay. Okay children, with this I am concluding today's session. The rest of the portions will be discussed in the next session. Notes of the topic and YouTube video have been uploaded. Please go through it. and there will be a test. So attend the test without any fail and send your answers quickly to the respective mail or through hand in as per the instructions given. We will meet in the next session. Till then, take care all of you. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.